Hello, my name is Samuel Beyondalillo, and this is the third part of Module 1. We're going to go over a couple of ways to set up your drawings in Vectorworks to make your file flow a little bit more efficient. I'm just going to show you where some of these preferences are and also how to set up your page so you can see what you're working in terms of scale, because the basic 8.5 by 11 is what you're seeing here. We're going to go over how to change that setting as well. Um, so over here in the top, we have two main areas that we're going to access files. The first is file document settings. And in there, we have document preferences, which are things that are specific for this file. So these are items that you can change, and it's local to the file. It's not global to your Vectorworks. Things like dimensions, your dimension standard, you can pick which one is your default. Resolution for rendering in your plane mode, which we'll talk about a little bit when we get into 3D. The other area under document settings is spotlight preferences, and these are going to be more geared towards lighting. In fact, they're 100% geared towards lighting. Things like light red export, some other stuff related to how lighting devices work, and loads and rigging. Which again we'll talk about more when we get into the 3D world and when we get into lighting. And then the other place that's sort of global to Vectorworks is your Vectorworks preferences. And in here, there's a couple different things you get to do. You can do one thing that seems to be a standard that is always checked is offset duplications. I'm going to ask you to uncheck that, so there should not be a little checkbox in there. What that's going to do is when we make duplications of things, it's going to, if you have offset duplications on it, it moves it over a little bit. And I'm going to show you why I prefer to manually offset afterwards, because it makes things easier a lot of times, particularly with lighting. Other things in here, displays, session, 3D, which we'll talk about. Some of the stuff that has to do with rendering and all that. The other area you might want to look at is autosave. I would encourage you to have autosave on, and I would encourage you to have it every 15 minutes or less. Anything more than that, you're going to find out as soon as Vectorworks crashes, and it will. It's a big program running a lot of times on a computer that isn't really meant for high intense operations like that. I mean, I have a fairly high-end Mac for when I bought it, and it still has a hard time dealing with some of the operations on Vectorworks. So you're going to find out really fast how much work you get done in 15 minutes when it crashes. You can also have it to confirm before saving, or just have it automatically save. I like to have it confirm because sometimes if I'm in the middle of a big operation, I don't necessarily want it to also save, because that's another thing for it to think about. A lot of times if I hit don't save, as soon as whatever high processing thing I've done, I manually just go up and click file save. And then you can either back up to the location where the file is or some custom location. I just like to have the same location. Makes it easier, keeps everything together. And you can choose to have more than one of your most recent backups. I choose not to. Some people like to have like 30 or something, so that they have like a file flow of everything they've done every 15 minutes. I think that gets a little bit excessive, but that's just me. And then a couple other sort of preferences around your cursor and user folders, which we don't really need to touch. So that's an overview of the preferences and settings that you'll need to look at. So the last thing I want to talk about is page setup, which is right here. You can see what the page. Okay, so if we printed out this, I think we're working right now in 1/4 inch. I'll confirm that by looking at the design layers that we're working in 1/4 inch. If I were to draw this in 1/4 inch, it's going to fit on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. I'm going to make the stage a little bit bigger, and so we're not going to be able to fit this on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. So I'm going to go to File, Page Setup. And what that's going to do is it's going to bring us to this little area here, and we can pick different sizes. I'm going to decide that we're going to do Arc C. And on there, the default width is 24 and the height is 18. Okay, and then we're going to go into, you see here it says horizontal and vertical are not lined up. So if I hit OK, it's actually going to, it's not going to do it for us here. but when it prints, it's not going to think about printing it properly. So you also want to go into printer setup. And these are my printers that I have. And so we're going to choose paper size, and you can have different sizes. Select any printer, and then you can select the size that you want. So this is an 18 by 24 inch ARC-C. If you don't have this listed, hit Manage Custom Sizes, and that will make it so that you can add these different ones. So these are C, D, and E are things that I made for my computer, and that's how you get onto that. And once you hit there, you go, oh, geez, it's still doing that. Well, if you go back to printer setup and you hit orientation, then these should be 1 and 1, which shows that everything here is lined up properly. So now we're working on an ARC-C piece of paper. I'm actually thinking for our purposes, we may want to do an ARC-D. So same process, ARC-D, and then here, great, and that gives us a little bit more room to play with. So I'm going to actually change our format here a little bit. I'm going to take the stage, and I'm going to make this, I'm going to make the width 40 feet. And I'm going to make the depth 20 feet. Or let's make it 25 feet. Okay, so we're going to have a little bit of a bigger stage. Okay, so this is okay, so here is our stage that we just created. And I'm going to put the back house over here. I'll just go back over here. So this is how our drawing is going to be set up. So here's the stage area that we're going to be working on. It's 40 feet by 25 feet. We're going to create a basic set in here, and then we're going to build, during the scene thing, we're going to build a little bit of theater around this. We're going to try kind of like a found space, where this is going to have an elevation of about 5 feet in the air. So that's how tall this is, which I'm going to note these as we go through so that we can make sure that we have, so that we know what we're working with there. In the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to actually build the theater around this. We're going to put in some masking. We're going to add some of those types of things, as well as starting to make the basic set that's going to be in this little found space that we have created. So we'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much.